speakers.
Morning, Councillor Cofer. Sorry to interrupt. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Grants Allocation Committee. Sorry we're running a bit late. We just have a few technical issues to work through, and they've now been worked through, I understand. So we'll start with a council blessing.
Tui te runga, tui te raro, tui ke waho, tui ke roto, tui te hiri tangata. Ka ronga te au, ka ronga te pau, haumea hui e tai ke.
Thank you. And sorry, I should introduce our group manager, customer and community, is Brendan Owens. We have one apology from, two apologies actually, one from the Mayor and from Sarah Yule. I'm assuming there are no other apologies? Oh, okay. So are there any declarations of interest? Sorry. Oh, sorry, can we get a mover for that? Apologies. Yep. Councillor Warwick, seconded. Councillor Cofer, those in favour? All right. All right. Okay, so does anybody have a declaration of interest of any of the items on today's agenda?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to declare, and I don't think it's serious, but just to be perfectly upfront, Digital Seniors is a group that we are intending to negotiate with, when I say we, the Age-Friendly Carpentry Reference Group. We've developed, or are very close to having developed, a plan of work. And one of the really important aspects is increasing the digital literacy of seniors. It appears that digital seniors are well suited for this. They have had a pilot session already in Carpentry Library. There's another one planned for one of our retirement villages, and it's highly likely that we'll be dealing with them. So that is one. The other is Age Concern, which is actually a member of that group. Yep. So there are two possible conflicts of interest there.
Okay. Thanks for that. Anybody else? No. Okay. Members' business. I'm assuming there isn't any. No. Good assumption. Reports. There are none. Well, we've got the to 7.1, which is the report itself, but we will be going through. Oh, sorry, you will go through public speaking first, so before we even get that on the table. Thank you very much. So the first of our public speakers is Barb McCasey from Energise Otaki, and speaking time is
3 minutes.
about around 3 minutes or so, and then questions. If you need longer than that, that's fine. Sorry, Barb, if you just push the button.
Oh. Woohoo. Okay. So I am the coordinator at Energise Otaki. So I look after, have oversight of all our projects. I'm here to speak to you about Otaki Bike Space. Many of you, I'm assuming many of you know Energise Otaki, so I won't go into that. But firstly, I really should thank you all for ongoing support of Energise Otaki, because it makes a huge difference. It probably is the difference to us being able to get on with our projects. So with Otaki Bike Space and what I'm going to do today, I thought I would just talk about the things that are in front of us and what's going on, but really give you time to ask me questions as opposed to going through that. So we've recently recently run a bike giveaway. We tried a different format this time, and that was not as successful as our chaotic one, which was really hard to control. But we try and run them twice a year. So that's the giveaways, and we put a repair day in, community repair day, so people can bring their bikes in. We did that last time. That added to our chaos, and people just, just trying to keep people in line. We thought we had it sussed, but we, we learned from both experiences. We'll be going back to chaos, organised chaos anyway for our next one. So Bike Space itself has been going for many years, actually. We did go through a sort of more difficult period with COVID, and when we did that, we decided to get a part-time coordinator, and it is really quite part-time work. But that person, at the time, we were also having to shift a container as well, and that was difficult. But we have our Main Street office, and we tend to find that bikes come in and out of there regularly. We have a work shed down on Old State Highway 1, and that is chocker. And our next working bay, we're getting a whole lot of bikes that we have another place back in there. We have a container as well, which has some bikes in down at the skate park. That is moderately successful having that there because we had to put it behind a secure fence, so the coming and going is more difficult. We run the working bees. They're just shifting into every 4 to 5 weeks. So we've got a really good crew now who are turning up for fixing the bikes. And then those fixers, our spanner hands, are not necessarily the ones who want to be present at a giveaway. So that involves a lot of a different set of volunteers. I think I was just looking with our April giveaway. We probably had 85 bikes go out in giveaways. It depends how often we can run them, and we will find that we've got a whole family that needs bikes. So then you've got 4 or 5 bikes going out at once. What else? I mean, the best thing for me really was a young Samoan family that came to our last giveaway. And people are really astounded that we are giving them away. We do try to encourage koha, but it's very difficult when you see somebody trying to hand over $25 and you know that they're having difficulty feeding their family, basically, so we'll try and hand it back. But yeah, there is a little bit of that going on. So anyway, this family, there was dad and 2 kids under 5, and he needed a bike really because he had a work vehicle, but he couldn't use that. He needed it just to get around and so on. And he was really surprised to find that he could have been asking for one for his wife as well. So that happens to us at giveaways. It's a really good chance to connect, tell people about what we can do with the bikes, but also what else we can give them, what other services, particularly the warm-up one, which we're always looking for avenues to start talking to people about that. Main things on our plate, keeping the momentum going. I was just talking to Aaron. We've been reasonably successful with keeping a pub charity grant going. It's not going to keep going, so we're nervous. Our work shed is costly. For us, it's costly. We're constantly on the lookout for another space. Not quite what it seems. If you know of anything in Otaki, please give us a yell. It's not quite what it seems. It has to be able to have a little bit of people coming and going, and the working bees are run down there. So the things that we've got going, we want to get a volunteer to be running our working bees, just because that can sort of take a little piece out of the coordinated time. We have got low carbon kapiti coming up, and they are now working with us on the working bees with the idea of seeing if they can get an operation going, and because we've got processes in place and the behind the scenes work, we can help them. But also we said to them, Otaki needs the bikes. What else? How am I going for time? Shall I leave you time for questions? Yeah. Yeah, I'll just say, so collaboration kapiti-wide, we're just starting to do some work on that, but we don't want to lose Otaki because we've got a need. So, yeah.
I have a question. We're possibly aware of the bike library in Paikokariki?
Yeah,
Where,
Jan.
yeah, and that's like hectic all the time. But they like hire the bike. People take them out like as a library for a year. I think
Yeah.
it's about $35. So do you think there's any possibility of that?
We are, that's one of the things that's on our plate at the moment, just to have a look at it. Initially, we went for the giveaway because it was, there was less admin involved in it. Now that we've got a reasonably regular group of spanner hands, that's one of the things that Jan has down there. There's a group that are meeting weekly, and their venue is very good. Central, they can get access to it. We suffered a little bit before the expressway went through, but it's also finding another secure space up there that we can let our bike mechanics organise themselves a bit. We're very keen on Haruatai Park. There's a building there that we're very, very keen on. But that would make a huge difference. And so I was talking to Jan actually last week about it, and it is a good idea. You've got to have a certain, like the facility has to be, that's a good facility they've got, but also their group of bike mechanics, I think.
Okay, no, that's cool. Does anybody else?
Yeah.
Oh,
Councillor.
yep, Rob, Councillor Coфord.
Thanks, Nigel. Barb, you're doing a great job in Old Techie, and congratulations. Hey, look, you mentioned 85 bikes went out. What is that annually, or is that just recently? How many bikes a year would you put through?
Well, I was just going and thinking, okay, this is taking into account April and the giveaway before. There are actually bikes going in and out. And the other thing I didn't mention is a couple of our mechanics go down to the repair cafe. So, for example, I know that there's 4 little kids bikes going down into that to be given away. So we kind of have this moving total all the time, and we're just about to do our annual report. So that one, I think this year will come in around about 100 is what's happening.
Oh,
So,
amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, because then you sort of look around Otaki and you think, okay, where are they all?
Oh, no, you
Sometimes.
see them around, and we've got some bikes we must get to you too, lying
Awesome.
around the farm there. But yeah,
Awesome.
and that facility at Haruatai Park, must have a chat to you about that later, eh? Just see that going
Yeah,
on.
we're really keen. It would give much more independence to, to the fix-up crew.
Yeah.
And if we were thinking about a library, we would have to have a more public space is all there is to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot anyway. You're doing a great job for Old Techie.
Okay. Anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you very much,
Okay.
Barb. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have Hilary Houston. Paraparumu Beach School, welcome.
Thank you. A bit nervous being here.
No, don't be nervous.
Didn't actually know what I signed up for.
We don't
but it's very
bite.
exciting.
Well, most of us don't.
Morena, I am Hilary Houston. I am a teacher at Paraparumu Beach School. I'm also within our school. I lead the Kahui Akua in Haiora. So this is what I bring today.
Okay.
And this is
Kia ora, kura koutou. I'm Vicky Wilson. I'm the assistant principal at Paraparaumu Beach School at the Kura. I've come as her support person because then I found her in the staff room today shaking. So I've come along no, as her support person. So yeah, Hilary is the lady of the information. I'm just here to look after
Great.
them.
No, that's just relaxed. Like I say,
Okay.
we don't bite. And yes, tell us about your
Okay,
application.
all right, so our application is around the Matariki event. 2 years ago, I led our school into a big event for the school, being that it was the government's first time to actually accept this really important event of, Māori Tikanga and the Māori New Year. So I thought it needed to be something for our children to actually remember, to bring them together, and actually understand what is Matariki about. And, we talk about the stars of Matariki, and this was a good opportunity to actually teach the students and their whānau, because I know, when I was growing up in school, I never had a clue about Matariki and the significance of these stars and the legends and stuff. So we took this opportunity and it was so successful. We had so many people arrive. I took the guidance, the Matariki, the principal guidance that was put out by the government, ensuring that we didn't look at things like non-reusable items. We looked at things and, stay away from the guy forks, keep to sustainability, everything that was really important to Kanga, we put into that. So from there, the event sort of was created around those 9 stars, where the children came in. Oh, actually, did I forget my little passports? Anyway, we had these beautiful little passports that looked like this, and they were all given to each of the children. Te ara o ngā whitu o Matariki, follow the stars of Matariki. So as they came in, we had lit up, tried to light up as much as we could through our school. And the children had to locate each of these, well, they were po, but they represented each of the stars like this. These were all set around the schools. And each of the po, each of the stars represented the meaning behind this particular star. So there was the Whiti, the star of, sorry, I'm just going blank because I'm in front of you. Oh, here we go. So there was the star of Waiti, which Waita represents the sea and all the food, the moana, and in the moana, the kai within it. So we created this great big station through our sandpit, and we had lights and the whales calling, and the children would get to the station, have to dig up the little kai that we had dug right into the ground, bring it, and then their passports were stamped. So these were passports. They had to locate, do each of the activities relevant to those stars, and then they were given a hot chocolate for free. They brought their their cups, because we wanted to not use recycle. We didn't want to use plastic cups. We wanted to think about all of that. So, and then they were given marshmallows to put on the braziers, and we had a bonfire, which we were allowed, but we are restrained by the fire brigade, 15 knots. That's a bit of the hard part, because it's chilly. You need to be warm, so we needed that fire. The fire was beautiful. We had performances. We had our kapahaka group perform, and it was truly a fantastic night of bringing so many people together. And to us, Matariki is about the gathering. It's about acknowledging those of the past. So we did have one of our stations when you first initially come in is the pahudikawa. So we had like an awa with bubbles and all sorts. We had, when you first come in, there's the pahudikawa, which is remembering those that have passed, a special place. We also, it was actually a special place because we didn't realise we had a terrible aeroplane accident some years ago with one of our students passing, and in that little area was his little plaque in there. So, and that's where we were drawn to have our pahudikawa, and people would come in and they would hang there, put their little wishes, and to those that have passed and memories. So this year, We did begin with, Koro Don opening our ceremony, and so, trying to follow Te Kanga, follow the way. So this year, we are working in with our whānau Ropu group, many descendants of Te Atiawa. We are also working together to create our event. So it's in partnership, it's in listening, it's in, doing this together. So things like they, even mentioned, okay, let's have our pahuta kawa, but make sure we've got water at those sides, as we walk away. They've been down collecting stones for the awa. They've done karakias, which we've been able to teach the children about and the significance around that and why that is important. As this event is growing, we are also, I'm not sure if you're aware about, the local schools have now signed in together. We have a Northern Kahuiako, so we have schools that are now working in with our hub, so Paraparumu College. We are part of the Northern Kahuiako, which we have Kapakapa Nui, Waikanai, Kinikina and Paraparumu Beach School working together, and Paraparumu College. So we're all working together to make it better for our akonga, for our children and our community. Some of us have the haora roles, some of us are working more on the literacy and academic side of things, but we are working together. So we're collaboratively working with them too. So I've now been speaking with Kinikina School to join us. So that 1 year it's with us and another year it is with Kinikina. So we hope to grow it, but the funding, we're needing funding you need equipment and it's nighttime and it gets dark in those schools, and our outdoor stage now is out on a back field, and I guess it's just you've got to hire lots of things for the hangi. We have a hangi, and so you need the chillers, you need the all the extension cords, trying to get in light. So what we're trying to do is build it, and hopefully over time for our whole community, as this gets bigger, we'll be able to bring in, have billboards and bring in, we want community. Schools are the hub of communities. And if the schools can, help run these events, it's best for the whole council in our area.
Thanks, Hilary. A question for you is, so who attends? Is it the kids from the school and their families, or is it broader? So for this year, for instance, will Kinikina kids be coming along?
I was just speaking to the person I work with Kinikina. Anyone's invited. We're not just about our school. We would have liked to have got, it would have been better if we're stuck on funding. So it would have been great if we had earlier funding where we could have got some billboards out and advertised it a lot more, which will be, we will down the future want to do. But yes, we want to invite Paraparumu College, we want to invite Kapakapa, we want to invite our Northern Kahuiako to join us too. It is not just restricted to our school, no.
Oh, that's cool. Does anybody else have any questions?
I've got a question.
Yep.
My question is about the Te Puna Kōkiri funding that's pending.
Yeah, we got cancelled. We got declined.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we got, that got confirmed at the end of last week. Hence I put my name down to come and present to you. It's like, oh gosh, we're desperate. Yeah.
And have you reached out to businesses to support you with sponsorship?
Yeah, we have. I've reached out to, we've got one builder that will look at paying for the hot chocolates. There's a versatile that are going to, with this program, we've also formed a Pacifica group that are going to perform within our school. We've also formed a rangatahi group leaders. So one of the businesses is going to fund tops for those students. But yeah, go for it.
We publish in our newsletter ever since we knew that we were going to be running this event again, asking for sponsorship from our community. Whoever reads our newsletter, which also gets published up on our Facebook page, will be aware that we are looking for funding and looking for sponsorship for this event, but like any event that is happening out there, and you'll hear it from everyone, businesses and people, it's getting really tight. And whereas we would have been able to count on a number of our parents saying, because a lot of our parents are in business, self-employed, a lot of that has dried up for this year. So we're pushing really hard, and and at the moment we've also had a t-shirt gifted to us by one of our lovely parents, Nahuia Wiki, who has designed, which we're selling to try and raise funds for it as well. So we're going out there really hard to try and be able to self-sustain this, but we're having a shortfall, and all the work that Hillary's done so far, it would be a shame to see it not be how we have envisaged it to be. So we are trying really hard.
I did fundraising for many years for Waidahu School for fireworks, and found that small amounts, lots of small amounts, because our community, there's lots of small businesses.
Yeah.
I went to Rob for 12 years for sponsorship.
And that's exactly what we're doing. And
small amounts, and
trying to-
our college is running a Matariki event, and they're doing it through sponsorship. So it's just really, you need some parents to take that on board, because it's not, it's too much.
And that's why we've got our whānau rupo is working on that, but it's only a small group. It's only formed this year, and it's got 4 very strong core members on it, but there's only a certain amount that 4 people can do, as you're aware. Anybody that's been involved in fundraising will know it is a hard progress to get it off the ground. I'll go backwards now.
Oh,
Hillary.
that's very good. You're doing great.
Oh, thanks, Hillary.
Yeah.
Absolute inspiration. You're doing a great job for the community there and the children. And how you'd have about 100 children from other schools and that, and it's a growing thing. Would that be right for one event, or?
Our school roll is sitting at 511. So
Wow.
So we are a big school.
Yeah.
So yes, we have got that, and so if you can think of that, that's 511 children plus their parents, their grandparents, their aunties, their uncles. I was away the first year they ran that. I was studying up at the Wānga, and when I came back, there were these pictures, and they made a guesstimate that there was nearly 1,000 people who went through the school on the night, and it wasn't just our school community that went through. There was lots of people.
No, thanks for that. I think the passports, discovering those and hearing the stories, it's incredible really for that grounding in te reo as well.
Yeah.
And I think some council members, me included, could do the course too. I mean, we're just picking it up, and no, it's absolute inspiration. No, thank you. Yeah.
And and I'm also just putting out there too to the council that, okay, with the funding is one side, but if there is any support that you can later come back later and offer.
Yeah, sure.
Lights, we need lights, we need lots of lights to light up this year, to light it up, please, that too would be just any help as well.
Well, as Shelley said, Councillor Warwick said, the Waidahu one is an annual event, and the whole community come in.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you're doing that. You're the glue that's getting the whole thing together, and no, best of luck, eh? It's fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you very
wonderful
much.
presentation too.
I'll just leave these pictures with you.
Ngā mihi for listening to us. We appreciate
Yeah,
it
thank you very
greatly.
much. I would just say we have 40 applications in front of us for significantly more than is available. So that's just not to lower anyone's expectations, but that's just the reality that we're dealing with.
Exactly. And as I said, we're aware of that. Haven't been on fundraising and not knowing what it's all about.
Yeah. And despite the fact that my 4 kids went to Paraparaumu Beach School, I have no conflict of interest whatsoever.
Oh, great
I
skill.
thought I recognised you. I
Yeah.
would have been there when your kids went through.
Cheers, thank you. Cecily. Welcome, Cecily.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Grandparents raising grandchildren.
And I'm the support person for Kathy, who's sitting in Fiji.
Oh, right, okay.
So here I am. I suppose to apply for funding, you should know who we are. That 25 years ago, a grandmother took care of 2 children, and she realised that how lonely and isolated she was. She put a little notice in the local paper, and the response was overwhelming. We now have 32 groups so far throughout the country. We're all volunteers, not Auckland. The fat cats sit at head office. Like councils, you know, there's always fat cats somewhere. So I'm supposed to be kind to you, aren't I?
No, that's fine.
Sorry.
No, accuracy's good.
But just a quick thing that I actually looked up. In the census, there's over 24,000 children in New Zealand in care. Now, everybody immediately thinks, oh, well, OT. Stuff it, they haven't. They've got 4,722 children in care. We have 16,000 children being raised by grandparents. Well, I think the grandchildren actually do raise us. So we have over 10,000 grandparents raising 16,000 grandchildren throughout the country. It's not an easy job. It is isolating, it's lonely at times. I got an 8-year-old, and I mean, who wants a grandmother with 8-year-old for dinner? I couldn't afford a babysitter. Sips in those days would have loved me because I'd say, darling, you walk home very slowly and Grandma will run home very fast from work. It's difficult, it's hard. In Kapiti area alone, we have from Paraparaumu to Otaki over 75 families raising, I think we added it up, and Kathy and I were half asleep, but I think 137 children. Otaki thing. I got Otaki by default some 25 years ago. I did the Hut, Wellington, right through, and because there wasn't a coordinator at Levin, somehow they kept popping up. The Otaki people came to me. So that's grandparents raising grandchildren. We are volunteers, and we hold monthly or bi-monthly meetings, some in areas. Pororua holds a support meeting. They hold a Monday morning coffee morning at Mitre 10 for those that have had a terrible weekend. Go and sit and have a cup of coffee and talk about it. They have a swimming pool 9 o'clock on a Friday if you need to get your energy ready for the weekend. Paraparaumu, we usually have a fortnightly meeting at the SAFE building, and what we're doing is setting up one meeting at the Wainanga at Otaki, and this is what we need the money for as well, is to set up the meeting there so that the people that we haven't been able to get down to Kapiti can have a meeting up there. So we tried one, and the response was really good. The issue with grandparents is that we have to start from scratch, getting day-to-day care, which is parenting orders, guardianship. You have to go through the terrible bureaucratic quagmire of WINS. They're my worst enemy, because they don't rate us. And so we've never had parity with foster care. Had I given my child to my next door neighbour, they'd have got $40 a week more. They'd have got respite care, holidays, birthday presents, Christmas presents, birthday presents, pocket money, school fees, medical fees. Grandparents don't get any of those. Thank you, Helen Clark, who said, as we were kin carers, we shouldn't need it. I'm 83 years of age. I do damn well need it, and so do all the grandparents going. So we have to support them. At Christmas, we had a family right here in Ruahine Street that I got a call from saying, well, they had nothing for Christmas, no food, no presents. And I was irritable. I was really cross because we'd sent out emails saying, tell us what you need. And this was Thursday before Christmas Eve. And so we went to the house, found Grandma had a, I've lost the word, a stroke. She had a 15-year-old, 11, 10, 15, 11, 9, and 2 4-year-olds. And because this is such a brilliant community, we were able to get Christmas present, their whole stockings. We had a gentleman down around Raumati South who did a food thing for them. We'd bought up chickens when they were cheap and they were sitting in my freezer, nothing else but chickens. So we were able to do everything through this community. An amazing man at Otaki, Benjamin, who's a hairdresser, did a Christmas tree in his window. And we filled a whole SUV completely to overflowing, so that when we dished up those gifts, we went back and filled up again. So we managed to do that, but feeding people was difficult. So people come to the support meeting for that support. One of the things we wanted to do, and we've been doing in Wellington, and we want to do out here, is emergency packs. Now, if you take on the responsibility of a grandchild, it must be total. You know, if there's a flood or an earthquake, your house is burnt, whatever, where's your emergency pack? So we talked to the groups and they decided what they felt should go in them. So the purchase of a radio, phone, torch from AA was $40. And it's amazing, the old dial up, wind it up, but you can plug your phone in too, wind it up, and so you still would have phone communication. First aid kits. So we started with those basics, with the backpacks, and we went on from there. Grandparents knew what they would need: dry knickers for little ones who were going to be frightened, lollipops to give them a sugar kick and keep them quiet, and then the good muesli bars and the water and all the boring things. But to do it, it turned out very, very expensive. And we've had a lot of donations for the Wellington, Pororua, and now we must start at Kapiti and get as many of our grandparents. And I've heard so many people say, oh no, well, I know where the things are, you know, in the linen cupboard and the hot water cupboard and this cupboard. And I said, yeah, and the tsunami's coming, and what are you going to do? Rush here, there, and what are the kids doing? Get a backpack and let's have it at the door. Have it there. And the ones that have got them, a lot keep them in the boot of their car, a lot, you know, finding a peg in the kitchen so that they can grab it up as they go. And so our kids have very high anxiety, and they've been dumped. The main reason we have children is drugs, alcohol, and mental health. Most of the mental health comes from drugs and alcohol. But those are the main reasons. You can say prison. Well, where do the drugs dealers go? They go to prison. So we so often have children just dumped on us. The last one was the woman, a Waikanae one, who had twins of 5 and a little 6-year-old delivered in a police car with a social worker, the clothes they stood in. So those are the things we're doing, setting up a separate meeting at Otaki and doing we think the emergency packs are very important.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that, Tesley. A question around the room hire, which is a substantial part of the funds. So is that room hire at the Wananga?
At the university, at the Wananga, yes.
Okay. So I'll just ask if anybody else has any question. By the way, congratulations. It's great work you guys are doing. Fantastic.
Thank you.
John?
Yes, congratulations. Wonderful, confident performance there, Cicely. But I suspect that when you confidently said 137, that is not the true number. Do you suspect there are grandparents who, for one reason or another, maybe embarrassment, do not avail themselves of your services?
Yes, and also you've got the Māori adoptions, and yet there's nothing in legislation that says that they can't have the unsupported child allowance. It's winds that knock us over.
Yes.
They see me coming now and rush up and say, what have we done now?
Good on you.
Because I'll just go. I've been to Otaki and said I don't have conversations. I just say, look, I'm sorry, I haven't got an appointment, but may I see the manager? Don't worry, I've got my book. I'll just sit over here, and I turn around and go and sit, and I'll sit there till the next morning until I see the manager. She comes within 5 minutes, because there's so many unfair things, and grandparents are anxious.
Yes.
They're anxious about bureaucracy. They're anxious about how much it's going to cost. Like I took Harley, he's 35 now. When I took him, I just had nothing and I was working full time, flat out, and I got this child. It was nightmare. I went into WINS. They were really no help at all. So we battle every single way.
How much of this is a personal battle as well? I imagine that family relationships must be difficult to manage for people of our age who were brought up in a simpler time, where a lot of these issues, we didn't hear of them.
When I took the two children, one was my son's and one was another grandmother, paternal grandmother. When I took them, I, in all honesty, thought there's going to be this wonderful metamorphosis. Marie will say, they're not having my children. She'll throw away the drugs and take her children. 30 years later, nothing. And that, sorry, but is the culture of Kapiti. We don't jump down on drug dealers. Everybody knows where they are. I'm stunned. I've come back to my father was born here in 1916. I left vowing never to return. I've returned here to die. I'm 83. You've got to die somewhere.
Usually waking on.
God's waiting room. But nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. We're still fighting the same things. Our grandparents, you don't realise that you take a child. I wasn't grieving over Harley. I was actually grieving over my son's failure. And every grandparent goes through this. We don't just sit back and say, oh, well, we're taking the children. There isn't a grandparent alive, unless they want to be committed, that looks at a new baby and says, oh, I want to raise this child. It's not so. We do it because we don't want them to go into the system with OT's 4,722 children. We'll keep our 16,000 children safe as we possibly can with help.
Thank you very much, Cecily. Really appreciate your time and coming in. And sorry, Shelley. Oh, we've got more questions here. We'll take. Sorry. Didn't see those.
I just commend what you do. I think it must be incredibly traumatic to think you're going to retire and then end up with your grandchildren. But my question is, and not in all the ways you just described, the room hire, have you investigated any places that maybe you could get free access, like at the schools and stuff?
Yes, we have. We've been, I think we've been everywhere. This one seemed central and Māori. This is a lot of Māori clients are not comfortable coming into, a place that they don't feel safe in. They feel judged. And if they can't get to Kapiti, they're feeling very judged in Otaki, thinking, well, that we've got to set a meeting up there. But we've tried places that they're still not comfortable in. They all seem to be happy with the idea of going
to the Wānanga.
There.
Yeah. Well, thank you for setting it up in Otaki, because that's where I'm from.
Right.
So thank you. But yeah, I'm just thinking there are schools that maybe would give you a room without a hire fee. I'm not sure, but if that's what works, that's what works.
Yes, I think again, your children in the school. Do you want to walk into the school? And
True.
Our kids are different now, and quite honestly, teachers don't understand it. They don't make the difference. They still ask our children to draw pictures of the perfect family. It happens. for the court, my grandson drew a pirate ship with all these family on it and one man out on the end of the plank going with sharks below. The judge looked at it and said, is he needing some help? And I said, no, he just wants to push that man overboard because that man's with his mother. So, yeah, but our kids need resilient grandparents. And sometimes the grandparents aren't the most suitable person. OT gave a great-grandparent of 81 custody. The grandfather got Alzheimer's, the grandmother died. What do you do with the child? Another thing.
So the other thing you could do is come to the for these Otaki meetings, you could apply to the Otaki Community Board for a community grant of up to $750. So if you have the year's meeting amount, you could come and apply to us for that.
Oh, right.
Yeah, just to support you in the meeting, in the venue. Hire
Yes.
would be something we would probably look at supporting.
I mean, I think
Not speaking on behalf of the other members, but
No, well, I think that one of the things is that, grandparents are, by the very role, quite often older. I'm 83 and I've just had a great-grandchild for the last 4.5 years. I got to 80 and I thought, oh, this isn't too bad. I got to 83 and I want to get off the ship. It's not easy, and then I do 30 hours a week, even now. It's time for my nana nap, but I'm never allowed one. So approaching people, I sit on the phone and I phone, and you don't get the same response. So I thank you for that idea. I didn't even know about the board up there. Would you? Yes. So if you could, I would really appreciate that, because it'll save you some money here if we can get it somewhere else. Yes, with the extra costs that we've got, but we would like to set it up there, and the response seems to be good. Yeah.
Councillor Cofford.
Oh, thanks, Cecily. You're a great advocate. I was chair of the Old Taki Food Bank. We had 20 grandparents representing about 45 children.
Yeah.
And wins were a dead loss, and that was their last resort. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. So really sympathise with what's going on there, and you're doing a really wonderful job in the community. I'm a district-wide councillor. I live at Old Taki, but I think district-wide we could look at all the community boards on your behalf and, see what we can do. That's Paikokariki right up to Old Taki. But no, thank you. You're doing a really great job.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. It's not an easy job, but you get the rewards. I mean, my grandson's now 35, owns 3 houses, his own company, is a communications for the government. Worked down with the earthquake
Commission,
in Christchurch. Was responsible for houses in the red zone, and the minister said to me, oh, that grandson of yours, he's switched on, and he said, I asked him how he learnt to speak to people, and didn't say, well, that's not our problem. He'd say, well, now, I hear what you're saying, how can we best go forward, what is it you want, all the lovely things. And he said, your grandson just looked at me and said, oh, sir, my grandmother's been 101 psyching me for years.
I can see where he got that from. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cecily. Really appreciate it. Cheers. Now, we did have Cynthia Duncan online, but that's moved to a later time, which gives us a morning tea break. And given that the 10:35 isn't here yet, so I think we'll do that. We'll take a quick break here. It's a cup of tea and bits and bobs out there.